Welcome to the podcast, Badass Mother Hustler, where the grit, stress, and the beauty of motherhood and entrepreneurship meet. We'll share the realities and stories of what it takes to make it all work and still be a badass mother. Now here's your host, Maddie Yaka.
Hello, everyone. I am here today with Abigail Shipley. She is the badass mother hustler of 3 girls, Millie, 7.5, Ava, 5.5, and Coral, 2.5. And she's the owner of SeemoreHealing. What is up?
Hi, Maddie. Thanks for having me on for your first episode. That's so exciting.
So exciting. And for those of you that may not know, Abby is my cousin, and I am 9 months older than her.
Yes. We've always been so close, even when I annoy you.
Never. So I'm super excited to have you today because I just think that you are amazing and you've been crushing building a business and having 3 kids and just really doing it all. And I wanted to talk to you about that.
Oh, thank you. And by the way, I love your shirt.
Well, thank you.
That's to wear.
It is from a local shop in Kennett called Mara Grace Boutique, and I just love popping in there when I'm working with April to check out their clothes.
Yeah, that sounds super cool.
Yeah. So why don't you tell everyone a little bit about your family?
Well, I have been with my husband, Ben. Today is our 7-year anniversary, but we've been together for 10 years, and we have 3 girls. Every time we get pregnant, it's another girl. Our oldest is Millie. She'll be 8 in August. And she was a surprise baby because I was so unhealthy when I conceived her that the doctors told me that I would need fertility drugs to be able to have babies. And then less than 2 years after that, we had Avery. And then we needed a little bit more of a gap. So after Avery, almost 3 years later, we had Coral on the kitchen floor.
Yes. And you discussed that home birth before on a podcast, right?
I actually don't remember if we talked about that because we were talking about family stuff. But yeah, I wanted to have a home birth because I had the other 2 naturally at a birth center. And my husband liked the idea of a birth center because it was in between a hospital and home and not as intimidating as having your baby at home. But when it was the 3rd, I was like, I mean, we haven't had any issues. We might as well have this one at home. I think that would be a cool experience, especially if it's our last one. And the whole time he kept saying to the midwives, so what do I do if you're not here? Like he just knew that they were going to miss it. And they did miss it. So he delivered Coral and I never made it to the birth tub. And so I had her literally on a rug that we still have in the kitchen.
That's awesome. Oh my goodness. What a story to just like tell her. And
I know. He's like, we can never move now. I said, we could just bring the rug with us.
yeah, I know. Oh my goodness. Were the midwives on their way or?
Well, she was a very strange labor. And from what I've heard, the 3rd can be, they call them wild cards. So I, for a week before I had her, had consistent contractions and they hurt, but nothing ever progressed. So the midwives knew that and would text me and be like, anything happening? And I'm like, no. And when it really was happening, I texted one of them because the other didn't answer. And I said, I can't sleep through them. I think that I might be having the baby. And she said, are you sure you're not just frustrated? I was like, okay, well, yeah, like I could be frustrated.
Yeah.
So I wound up going through labor all by myself because I just thought I was frustrated. And then when it got really painful, I wanted to go upstairs to get a shower, but I couldn't go up the stairs. So I called Ben because he was asleep with the girls. And I said, hey, will you help me get upstairs to the shower? And he said, Abby, you're gray. Like, I'm calling everyone. You're definitely having the baby. And then he no longer said that. I said, oh my gosh, the baby's head's coming out. Like, you could just feel it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So they weren't anything.
So you gave birth naturally with all 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was that?
I feel like I was going to die, but it was totally worth it.
So Abby and I are like total opposites. I'm like, get me to the hospital and give me all the drugs. And that is not Abby. But, in the past few years, I have been coming to see you. And I mean, let's talk a little bit about your business and then people will understand, why you really, really wanted to go to a birth center and then end up having your third at home. So
Well,
tell everyone what your business is and what it's about.
my business is called SeemoreHealing because that was a nickname from my dad. He told me everything I see, I want more of. So when I was creating my business, I thought, well, who doesn't want to see more health and healing? So that's why it's called Seymour. I run a holistic and functional nutrition practice. So I am not a registered dietitian. I am not counting your calories. I see people all the way on the scale of like digestive issues, depression and ADHD and autism to cancer. So I like to help people get their body back to the way that God intended it to with as little medical intervention as possible. I can't diagnose anything because I'm not a doctor. I can't treat anything because I'm not a doctor, but I can figure out the root cause of why you're experiencing everything you're experiencing and then help give you the tools to basically heal yourself.
Yeah, and this is something you went to school for.
hmm I went to school actually to be completely medical. I wanted to be a physician's assistant. Science was always my favorite. Learning on how the body works was always my favorite. And I guess I was naive because I was under the impression that I was going to help people fix what was wrong. But the more that I continued with my schooling and my internships, I realized I will be literally practicing medicine. I will only use medicine. I will hear that they're diagnosed with high blood pressure, and instead of fixing their lifestyle, I'll give them blood pressure medication. And after I got sick with chronic migraines my senior year of college, and they said, well, you have migraine disorder, you can go on birth control, you can take migraine medication. I said, okay, but why do I have that? And they had no answer for me. And I realized that is not what I want to do.
Yep. So you help people find the root cause of
Mhm.
what is
Yeah,
happening to them.
yeah, exactly. Like, even I don't even like to call it functional nutrition as much anymore either, because when people go to a functional medicine doctor, which they're awesome, I've noticed that what they're doing is finding all the deficiencies and using just as many supplements as a doctor would use medication. And of course, that person's going to be deficient if they have a parasitic infection, if they have mold toxicity. That's going to deplete us of all our vitamins and minerals. I think it's so much more useful to find that mold, find the parasites, clean that out instead of giving them a ton of supplements for everything they're deficient in. Because then it's never going to end.
Yeah, yeah. So how did you find out about nutrition response testing and what you do now? Because I never even heard of it until I learned about it from you.
I found out that the root of my migraines was chronic Lyme disease. And I did everything to research on my own, like what do people do to heal from chronic Lyme? So I did medication, I did doxycycline and just got sicker. I did acupuncture, I did chiropractic, I did detoxes, um, I did homeopathy, and sometimes I would feel a little bit better and then everything would come right back. So I was doing research and I found that a lot of people had success with muscle testing. And I hadn't even heard of muscle testing before. So I looked into practitioners near me. I tried the modality myself. And then I did a really rigorous protocol where sometimes I was seeing the practitioner like every day because I
Wow.
so sick, at like pretty much bedridden. I couldn't drive. My husband had to drive me most of the time, or my mom, or my mother-in-law. And at this point, I had two kids. So because it was my last resort and I had two babies, I had no choice other than to have faith in it because it was the only thing I hadn't tried. Next on my list was going to be bee venom therapy, actually. And then
bee venom?
yes, I was going to go to New York to learn how to sting myself with bees because there's been tons of evidence that bee venom therapy can cure chronic Lyme and a lot of autoimmune and cancer. So this was like my step before that because you can't be pregnant or breastfeeding, and I was breastfeeding and I wanted to have another baby. And after 9 months of working my butt off with detoxing and diet, and like I never cheated, I finally was like, whoa, I feel like a person again. So then I went to school to do it to help other people.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So after that, and you saw that it helped you after going through so many other things before that, that's when you decided that you wanted to do this yourself.
Yeah, and I think it really helped trying all those different things. And I think all of those things are awesome. And I never think there's just one thing that'll fix someone. I think using a lot of modalities will fix, but this was definitely the missing piece. Like, I changed my diet and I would get things into alignment, but I wasn't purging all the toxins. Like, I was loaded with heavy metals, and that even showed when I went to a holistic dentist. They had me breathe into a tube to check the heavy metal gases in my mouth, and I was like off the charts. And that's what the muscle tester had said. And the dentist was like, "How many metal fillings do you have?" And I said, "I don't have any."
Oh, wow.
It was just all the metal. My body like held on to everything.
So people that come to see you, do you find that for them, you are their last resort of being fixed, or was that kind of like in the beginning of your business?
No, I think I'm probably like 50%. I'm like their last resort. Like, they've tried everything. They learned of muscle testing like late after trying everything. Another thing is that I've noticed, because I do what I do and because it's different, people will spend triple, quadruple the amount to go to a doctor or a functional doctor because of their title, because that's usually what their spouse feels the most comfortable doing, because they look at me and probably think like, that girl's a quack. And I totally understand it.
What did I nickname you?
I think Harry Potter, right?
The witch doctor.
This doctor, yeah, like, and it's, hey, I am like magic, so I'm totally
You
fine.
are like magic.
But I think it is cool because I've had so many people that have reached out to me, like when I first started my business, and they wanted to do, I always offer people, if they have questions, like I'll give them a 15-minute free call and they can ask me questions to see if I'm the right fit for them. And there were a lot of women that said, "I really want to book with you, but I'm a little skeptical, and there's a doctor in the area and I'm going to go to them." And I'm always like, "No hurt feelings, you got it. Like, do whatever you think is best." I would say 98% of them wind up booking after not having success with those other doctors, and then they have had success with muscle testing.
Open mind. You just have to have an open mind for everything you do, I feel like.
Yeah, and I get it. That's probably hard too, especially when you've spent so much money. That's hard.
I mean, not only that, you grow up a certain way and you think a certain way. I mean, you had your business for probably a year and a half before my husband and I decided to go your route.
And you guys couldn't take it anymore, right? It was like, "Oh my gosh, might as well just try this and see if it works."
Yeah, it was last resort for Andrew and his
Yeah,
migraines.
yeah.
Yep.
And I totally get that.
Yeah. So you have your own business. Like, does entrepreneurship run in your family? How were you scared to start a business?
I actually wasn't scared at all. I think because I literally did not expect anything from it. My dad owns his own business, and I think he's been working since he was like 13. So I knew that I had already had kids. I was a stay-at-home mom. I love being a stay-at-home mom, but I felt like I had so much education already once we had babies, and like I said, kind of a surprise. Like, I would have been working in nutrition. And then when I found out how to help people, I I'm like, that's messed up. I should start. And if anyone that comes to me, cool. And if I can help them, awesome. And if not, no big deal. So I started September. I remember because it was like the 1st of September. So I did September 1st, 2020. And I started out of my house because people were super weird about businesses and germs. And I wasn't big into masking. So I just like started an Instagram, and it kind of was like word of mouth, which is exactly what I wanted. I figured if you're into this stuff, cool, come, I'll help you. And that's great. And then everything was referral based off that. And that's how I do it.
Yeah, so it started in your house, and I remember we were parking in your neighborhood, in your driveway, come through your front door, and you had turned your like formal living room into your office.
Yeah, in an HOA. So.
Yeah. And it was just awesome because your girls got to be home. They
Yeah.
were like grabbing snacks out of the kitchen. They were playing with their toys when you were testing me, and it was sweet. What made you decide to move from your house to a like formal office?
There was a lot of different factors with that. So I would say 80 to 90% of the people were really respectful of the home situation, but then there were other people that because I was working from my home, they weren't taking me seriously or really like respecting boundaries. And I thought, maybe if it was a more formal environment, which honestly, my office is not formal. Like I have half my office is a kids area. I always said to the one girl that started with me from the beginning, McKenna, she was in the same situation as me. She was a stay-at-home mom. She was pregnant with her second baby when I hired her. And I said, listen, my kids are going to be there sometimes and it's going to make our work harder. Your kids are always welcome. If people have a problem with that, I can refer them somewhere else. So we do have a very kid friendly office. I see a lot of kids. Another reason was that I was seeing so many people and I keep all my inventory and my house was like bursting at the seams. So my husband and I were excited to have like a little bit more space back in the house. I did want to offer different modalities. So I have at the office not just nutrition response testing, but I have an ionic foot cleanse, I have an infrared sauna, I have a lymphatic shake plate. So I think that was cool with moving out of the house. I could just see more people and have it as a more set formal-ish environment.
But it's not formal at all, like you said, which is what I love. And I think for people that want to have businesses but also are moms, like it's hard to balance it, but you do a really good job. Like your kids are with you in the office most of the time. And like you said, there's a play kitchen and people that come bring their kids and their kids can play while they see you. And it's an awesome environment.
Thanks. And my kids really like it too. And like McKenna's kids, they'll always ask, are any other kids on the schedule? Because it's basically like a built-in play date for them when clients bring their kids, or if I'm seeing a child that day, then they really like that. And when I started at the office, Coral was still really little. So I think like a couple months old. So I actually baby wore her for like 8 months. So
I wanted to bring that up. Like Abby would have her in a baby carrier on her chest like the whole day.
yeah. And so I did give myself scoliosis.
Oh my
but
God, I didn't know that.
but my chiropractor's helping me with that. Coral's trying to light a candle right now as we speak, but the lighter is childproof, don't worry. Um, but yeah, so I would baby wear Coral, I would strap her to me and I would muscle test. And a lot of times I would throw blankets over me and she would be nursing while I was muscle testing. I would get a little nervous because I saw like lots of young guys and they were probably like, what the heck? I did have one woman, like it got around the grapevine that she was like, I walked in and she had her baby with her. And I was like, hey, I'm not for you. Don't come.
Yeah, seriously. Which is what you said. If people couldn't understand, then you were okay with them not working with you and you would help them find someone else.
Yeah, definitely.
Are there any other obstacles that you have, been struggling with or overcome as a business owner and a mom?
Yes. I think that when you own your own business, it never stops, which I knew that from looking at my mom and dad. But I also wanted to have a point where it did stop because I wanted my family always to come first. And also, if I couldn't take care of me, then how am I supposed to take care of other people? So when I first started to build my business and not realizing how much work there was on the back end, come here over here, Coral. Um, I was seeing clients like 5 days a week. My hours wouldn't be close to as long, but I was seeing them every single day. And when I was doing that, then I didn't have time to answer the 50 to 100 emails that I get a day or to go through invoices. It's broken.
Or inquiries on your
Or
Instagram
time
and
to help people or tax it. Like you have no time. So I was working 7 days a week. Obviously, I was stressed out, and that wasn't going to help anyone. So what I have noticed was the best is that I hired a nanny who helps me so much. And instead of working 5 days a week, working like I still work.
well, instead of like seeing people in your office, because people just think like, oh, she only works 3 days a week because her office hours are only 3 days a week. Like there's all the back
Exactly.
end stuff for being a
Exactly.
business owner.
Yeah, like today's a Monday. I don't see clients, but I'm in the office and I'm working. But I see clients 3 days a week where I can really concentrate on the clients and busting out as many people as I can possibly see and help in those 3 days. And I make my hours as long as I can. And then I can be more flexible on Mondays and Fridays, which is cool. Like I can do lunchroom mom for my daughter. I did that last week, but then the other thing that stinks is because I only have help 3 days a week and because I have clients scheduled out and I want to be as professional as possible. And I literally, unless I'm on my deathbed, I'm not canceling on anyone. Um, I can't go to like my daughter's school field trip because they gave us like a week notice and said, hey, by the way, field trip's on the 28th and I hope you can come. And I already had 15 clients scheduled that day. So thankfully my husband can be there, but I feel bad because they'll say stuff like, why aren't you going to be there, mom? And it makes me feel like garbage, but I can go to other things. Poison.
You're there for, I mean, yes, you're flexible on Monday, Friday, and I'm kind of like in the same boat as you where my kids are somewhere for 3 days a week so I can run my business. And then we try to fill our businesses in the cracks when our kids are asleep.
Yeah, literally. Or I'll have Coral with me. So like when I'm doing a report that could take me 30 minutes, it takes me an hour because Coral's pulling the toilet paper out or eating so many vitamins that I thought she had the stomach bug one time, but it was because she ate an entire bottle of fish oil and that's why she vomited.
Oh my God. But I totally get that. How something is only supposed to take 20 minutes and it takes twice as long.
Yeah. But I think that is the good part that our kids can see us and be around us. But then they also don't like it because I know when I get an email and it's a more urgent email or I have to switch something around in schedule and they're with me and I go to touch my phone, they're like, stop doing that.
Yes, sometimes. Like Dakota used to love to go show houses with me. And now that she's like a little bit older, she doesn't like it sometimes.
Now she's like, I don't want you to work. I want you to play Barbies with me.
Yeah. Do you find the girls mimicking you in like your job at all?
Yeah, I love when they do it kind of rarely. When we're at the office, when my husband and I sauna, they fight over who's Abby, and one will sit at the desk and one will muscle test, and then like random times they'll just put food in one of the other's hands and let me see if your body likes this. Let me push on your arm.
That is so cute. And you don't realize that they are absorbing all of that until you see them like do it on their own.
Oh yeah, they do. And it's funny. And then I'll say to them, oh, do you want to do what mommy does? And they're like, no, I want to be a teacher.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Um, okay. So do you have, I mean, obviously we've kind of already talked about how we as entrepreneur moms experience motherhood a little bit differently than 9 to 5 moms or stay-at-home moms. What do you think is like the beauty or one of the best parts of being an entrepreneur mom?
I don't think I could do a 9 to 5. I love working, and I would work doing anything. Like if I had to, I would clean, I would do anything that I needed to do. But I do like on Monday today, I got to start my morning reading, and then I got to get my girls ready for school, and then I got to go in the garage and exercise, and yeah, I answered some emails then, but that was really cool. It's almost like an extended weekend where I'm like easing my way into like work your butt off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And I do like that as much as Coral drives me crazy that she gets to be with me and see things and that I'm not having to put her in daycare right away. I think that I would be a mess. And I really feel for the moms that do that. And I think it's worth maybe working 7 days a week doing things here and there than having such a set schedule and having to ask people for permission because I've never been really good at that.
Yeah, it's like an ebb and flow because I totally get it. We work 24/7, but like not really. It's like when you're on call. Like someone can reach out to you not during 9 to 5 and you're going to help them because it's part of your business, but there are those hours throughout the day on a Monday or a Thursday where you have like an hour or two where you're not necessarily working, but you're with your kids, and other moms that are maybe 9 to 5, they don't get that time.
Yeah, I think that's hard. I think there's definitely negatives and positives for both sides, and you just have to like see what fits for you and your family the best.
That is 100% true. And I'm with you that I don't think I could ever not be my own boss ever again.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah. Okay. We are going to wrap it up. We're going to do our 5 in 5. So my first question is what does your ideal chill day look like?
Oh, that's so easy. I would be alone because I don't even shower alone, and I would be on the beach reading with endless supplies of coffee and sparkling water.
Yes, yes, yes. That sounds like a wonderful day to me because I love to read too.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that puts us right into the next question. What are you currently reading or listening to?
Oh, this is so fun. Okay, so I am reading the Throne of Glass series, and I'm on page or book, what is it, 6 and 7. It's an 8 book series, and you tandem read 6 and 7. It's my first tandem read ever. So I'm reading 2 books at one time because it's all the characters from the whole series, but the 2 books are happening at the same time. And a lot of people skip the one because it's not as like a cliffhanger, but I actually really enjoy it, and you would like miss out on the series without doing it.
Are you supposed to be going back and forth reading them? Is that what's suggested?
I think because it became so popular, like this was her. She's written 3 different series, and this her name's like Sarah J. Mass, and she wrote this series first, and then it's been gaining a lot of popularity on like TikTok and Instagram. And she has 2 books that are kind of weird. Like there's a prequel that she wrote third, and then there's that one book that I think she wrote seventh, but it's going at the same time as book 6. So like all the fans have made a cheat sheet of how to read them at the same time, so it's more enjoyable, and that's what I'm doing.
I've never heard of tandem reading.
Neither have I until this. I'm
Yeah.
a dweeb carrying around 2 books at one time, and then I also have this book that I'm reading for school too. Why We Sleep.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's so hard. I love to read too. It's so hard to just try to read the business and the informational books. They go so much slower than the leisure books.
They do, and when you're kind of doing like real estate all day or health stuff all day, it's like, yeah, I love this stuff, but I would rather read about a romance with fairies, which is reading about, than read about how important it is for us to sleep.
Yeah, but I mean, as business owners, we're always constantly learning And I mean, like you just said, you're still in school. What are you in school for?
I take a class a year. So I do it because I enjoy it. I do it because I want to stay on top of everything to help people the most that I can. So currently the program that I'm in is Nutritional Therapy Associations. So you learn holistically basically everything you would as a registered dietitian.
Yeah, okay. And well, we got off track a little bit. So back to question number 3. What's your favorite app or tool you use as an entrepreneur mom?
Oh God. Well,
So so like either as an entrepreneur or as a mom, or can you use it? Would it be great for both?
well, actually, that so I started using the Vagaro booking link app, and that has saved so much time and stress because when I first started, because I am technologically challenged and I hate technology, it frustrates me. I was I had a hand calendar like this. I still use the hand calendar, and everyone that helps me at the office makes fun of me. And I went through every single client 2 days before and would have to text every single one confirming your appointment. And now the booking app does it for me. People can like schedule or book themselves once there's an established client, and it saves tons of time.
I love it because, yeah, exactly. When I would get ready to come see you, I would text you and be like, oh, do these dates work? And I give you like 3, and you're like, those don't work. These 3
Yeah.
work. I'm like, those 3 don't work for me. So, yeah, I love that app that you use now.
And the funny thing is, some people still like it the old school way, but I figure, okay, if you like it this way, we'll do it this way for you. And if you like it quick, we'll give you the link.
Yeah, I love the link. So, what is that again for everyone? Vagaro, right?
Vagaro, Vagaro. A lot of massage therapists and hairdressers actually use it. So sometimes the client's already established in the system because once you have an account, it doesn't matter where you're using it for.
That's awesome. Nice
Yeah.
and easy.
Yeah.
All right. So, what's the song you blast the shit out of if entrepreneur mom life is too much for you on that day?
Oh, so many. I really like Sum 41. And like lately, I'm just loving that Shabuzi drinking song, which is ironic because I'm not drinking at all, but I just get drunk off coffee.
I thought it was so funny because the first time I heard that song, it was you used it on one of your Instagram reels, and I was like, "Oh my goodness,
So
that's funny," but I
I,
love it.
yeah, I love it.
And to wrap this up, what is some advice you can give a struggling entrepreneur mom?
Be more organized than I was in the beginning. I was just going with the flow and figuring it out as I went. And I think that that did make me learn a lot, but it also caused a lot of stress. So, like setting up, like, I'm going to have these hours, I'm going to use this. I'm going to have like a cancellation policy. I think starting that right off the bat so that it's established, people get it, they know what, rather than like doing it as you go, probably would be a little bit smarter.
Yeah, so maybe like have systems and processes that you follow.
Yeah, like right off the bat.
Yeah. I can understand that. But some people they just learn as they
That's
are doing it. Well, thank you for being my first episode. This has been amazing.
yeah.
If listeners wanted to reach out to you, what is the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Okay, so I am very active on Instagram. My Instagram handle SeemoreHealing. The thing that stinks about that, even though I've edited my settings, for some reason, certain accounts, not all accounts, I'm not seeing them in my message requests unless I'm friends with them. So if you want a sure way to get a hold of me and to schedule, that would be emailing SeemoreHealing@gmail.com. I also have a very caveman website where you can click there to send emails as well.
All right, a caveman website. So maybe that is the
That up
next
real quick too in the beginning. I was like, yeah, this will work
thing on your list to tackle, right?
one day.
Yeah. I mean, do people use websites anymore?
Some people find that, oh my God, you don't even want to know what Coral just did. You do not even want to know.
Tell me before we go to the
Uh,
outro.
So this is called Field of Flowers. It's a homeopathic remedy for stress made of Bach flowers in an ethyl alcohol tincture. So it tastes like vodka, and my 2-year-old just chugged it. There's no issue with that because homeopathic you can't overdose on, but hopefully she'll take a nap.
Vodka is disgusting. I can't believe she would like the taste of something that tastes like that.
Runs in the family.
All right. Thank you so much for coming out today. And like Abby said, you can find her on Instagram, SeemoreHealing. And we will see you next week for our next episode.
Yay.
Have a great day, everyone.
Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you for joining this episode of Badass Mother Hustler. If you loved this episode as much as we did, and it left you feeling inspired and empowered, give us a quick like and subscribe, and we'll invite you back to our next episode. And be sure to share us on your socials and visit our Instagram, Badass Mother Hustler Podcast. We'll see you next time.